Hola, buenos días, buenas tardes. Welcome. Hola, buenos días, buenas tardes. Welcome. As you can see, I'm not in Costa Rica. Hola, buenos días, buenas tardes. Welcome. As you can see, I'm not in Costa Rica. I'm here picking melons. So I cannot be live, but let's try to do it on a distance. But before we go, I'll go to the studio so I have some space to explain. This afternoon, I want to tell you about a couple of different things. One is the trends in the markets that we have seen during the last summer. Also want to share some pictures with you to get some inspiration, ideas, and to finish, to share some thoughts and information about the arrivals of our new yellow honeydews, arrivals in Holland and England that I've been looking at. But to start with the market trends. As you know, Europe is very diverse. If you compare with the United States, Europe is, every country has its own preferred melon, watermelon type. So it's a bit complicated, but these numbers are pretty general and informative. To start, it's about the distribution of the world population. So probably you have heard before that the population of the world is increasing. In the coming 25 years, we see another billion people coming to the earth. But you can also see in this picture that the people are going to live in different countries or different regions. So the population in the US is decreasing, the population in Africa is increasing rather fast. So this is important for us, being in the melon supply chain, to know that this trend is there. So we have to take action and to be aware that this is happening. Another big thing that's happening is that the families are getting smaller. I just have some examples here. Of some countries, but it's a global trend. So basically in many countries, the amount of people in the families is getting smaller. So if I look at Holland today, we have on average 2 persons in a family. Now, 2 persons in a family means a husband and a wife, but no children. So the number of people is really going down, and that has impact on the fruits that we eat, on the size of the fruit that we eat, on the amount of fruits that we buy. So this has really a big impact. You can see some other countries, like UK today is 2.4 people per household. US is still 2.5. And some other countries are still a bit higher. So in Africa, the amount of people in one family are larger, same with Asia Pacific. What does it mean? There will be more people coming, like I showed you, and there will be smaller families. So in the end, there will be more smaller families. So more smaller families. The next step is, where are those people going to live? Today, I checked in Europe some information, 52% of the Europeans are living in a city. The estimation is that in 25 years, in the year 2050, 68% of the people will live in the city. So that has big impact on how we will behave. Today, if I look in the Netherlands, for example, We have supermarkets in every little village. You can park your car, you can buy as many things as you want, there's enough space, you have a big trolley. But if you live in Amsterdam city center and you want to buy a watermelon of 12 kilos, very complicated to have this in your bag. How do you carry it? Is it going into the metro? How do you go to your house that is on the 17th floor in a department store? So additional issues will occur. Now, and what I mentioned, it's not future, it's today. So if you look at Europe, 200 million households, 75 million, so that's close to 40% are single households. So that's people living alone. That has a big impact on the size of the fruits that we buy, of course. Who is going to buy a watermelon of 5 kilos if you live alone? So practically you see happening today already, 40% of all the watermelons in the UK are smaller than 2 kilos, are closer to 1 kilo. So we need smaller fruits, new types of fruits. In the US, the story is pretty similar. 132 million households and 30% is living alone. So this is really a tendency that people are going more to live alone. Now, what is that impacting for us? Because now we are developing seeds for varieties to be grown in Costa Rica, other countries. But what is the impact for us? Now, what I mentioned, it's quite big. I think we really need to focus on more smaller sized fruits because this is where the demand is. There's no demand anymore for really big fruits for fresh consumption. On the other side, there is also a tendency that people are going more for convenient food. So instead of buying a melon or a watermelon or a lettuce or a tomato, they're going for a fruit salad or they're going for a leafy salad. So instead of buying a head of lettuce, they will go to the supermarket and buy a salad mix. So that's another tendency. So people are living more alone. So people have less time to prepare food, to prepare their dinner. So they have more money because they work all week. So they have money to buy a more expensive fruit salad. So you'll see a tendency that there's more fruit consumption as fruit salad instead of whole fruits. For example, lettuce. What we see, X1 is very big in lettuce. So we sell lettuce, I think, in 140 countries around the world. And we see the amount of the types of lettuce is really changing. Nowadays, we sell a lot of lettuce that is grown very big because the processing companies are making a lettuce salad from it. So they mix it with a tomato, with a cucumber, with some other, with cheese, with meat, to have a meal, ready-to-eat meal. And the same is happening with melons. So there is less and less surface in supermarkets for whole watermelons, like shown on the picture, but there's more space on supermarkets for those fruit salads because people like to have also some variation in the product they eat. So quite some big impact for all of us, for you as a grower, as a supplier of the main retail stores in Europe. Something nice as well. So maybe it started a bit negative, but it's also nice things are happening, especially for your part of the world, where Costa Rica comes into the market in February, and you have products February, March, April, some part of May. What we've seen over the last 10 years is that the consumption peak that was traditionally there for melon and watermelon is going a little bit down. And I mean to say, traditionally in Northern Europe, we are eating melons and watermelons in May, June, and July. June, July, August, that are the key months to consume melons and watermelons. Why? The temperature is nice, it's really good weather to buy fresh fruits. People enjoy it. Now, what we've seen over the past years is by the introduction of coming Brazil into the market, Costa Rica into the market, Honduras into the market, and the development of the fresh cut that I just explained before, you see that the consumption level of melon watermelon is higher in the winter time than it was before. So the peak in summer is going a little bit down, and the consumption in the months like October, November, December, January, February is going up a little bit. So it's becoming more a year-round product. So it's really also a positive. So there is more demand in the season Costa Rica is supplying the European market. Now, overall, the consumption of melon, we believe globally, so this is not just Central American production, but overall, we see a little decrease of melons consumption in the world. And watermelons is increasing a little bit. So we've been thinking, what are the main reasons for such a development? I think one thing is that watermelons are more secured in quality. So we do tests here, we buy watermelons in the supermarkets, we buy 50 watermelons in different stores, and then you see that the overall quality of the 50 watermelons we buy is better. Better compared with melons. For example, if you buy 50 melons, then you say, okay, maybe 5, 6, 7 of them are not ripe or overripe, are not so sweet, are very hard. So consumers are disappointed. In a time where fruit and vegetables are quite expensive, so on average, I think we pay here, I'll show you on the picture later, but probably like €2 per fruit. People like to go for something they can trust. So you can see that the overall better quality of watermelon makes it more reliable and makes it more interesting for consumers to buy. But I also put this yellow star there because I think we also need to be awake, because we cannot let the melon category go down. I think we, as Reg Swan, as one of the seed suppliers for Costa Rica, but also for other regions, and you guys as suppliers and the growers for the product, we also need to be sharp to each other and be honest to each other and say, we need to keep up a certain level of quality. We need to bring back that reliability to melons, because that is the only way to stop the decrease in consumption and to stabilize it and hopefully in the future to go up again. So quality is really critical. Now, the second one I will go a little bit faster because it's just to show you some examples of the market. I took some pictures from the different markets around the world with some shelves so you can see what's on it, and I will tell a little bit about it on this slide. Now, the first one here is the USA. You can see how big watermelon consumption already is compared to melons. USA is fairly easy if you look at the types they consume. So it's either a Western Shipper, a cantaloupe melon, or a white honeydew melon. You can see the orange and the green. But three quarters of the whole market, if you look at melon, watermelon together, is today already watermelon. And it's still growing. So watermelon is biting the melon category. Now this is a different picture, different story. This is all these supermarkets, this is all the supermarkets in the German market. So you see the Aldi, you see the Edeka, the Kaufland and the others, and this picture is showing how many different types they have on the shelf of each category. So the yellow is melon, the red is the watermelon, and you can see they have more different melons on the shelf than watermelon. But having said that, the sales is more or less 50-50. So if you look at euros turnover, the sales in watermelon is the same as melon. So with less different products, they make a similar amount of money. So it's interesting. This is also a driver for supermarkets to say, hey, why not do more watermelon? Because then we can sell more. Now, these different pictures. This is about German market again, but this is the different types they do. So you can see, for example, the East Center, which is in Edeka. They have 2, 4, 6, 7 different types of melon on the shelf, which is quite a lot. This has also something to do with the peak I showed you before. So the months of June, July are really the peak months of consumption of melons. So at that time, the supermarkets want to have a big offer. Now, this research is done at the end of June, so in the middle of the peak. So that's why at that moment in the year, the amount of different melons on the shelf is so large. In the winter time, you will see this going down to 2 or 3 different types in general. This is something about sizing. I meant sizing to you before. This is the average price in kilos, in euros per kilo, if you look at watermelon. So we bought watermelon from 1 to 2 kilo, more than 2 to 4, 4 to 8, and more than 8. And you can see the kilo price that we had to pay. So the price being paid by consumers for the smaller fruit is more expensive, which is also important because smaller fruits for you mean more work, less yield per hectare in some cases. So it's important that the smaller sizes are paid better. But that's nice to show that it's already true in the case, that you get better paid for smaller sizes. Also ready to eat in Germany. If you look at the European market, most innovations come from the east, as we say. So something occurs in the United States, and then in a few years later, we will see it also in England. Then a few years later again, you will see it in the Netherlands, Belgium, and so on. So Germany is normally a couple of years later on the fresh cut products. So the tradition of Germany is much more to buy off. But I was surprised looking at these stores this summer, how many fresh cut you already see in the shelves, in all the different shelves. Now, I think this is the last picture from Germany, just to show you one thing, is that the assortment in the different retail stores, so in the different outlets, where Edeka with Netto, Aldi and Lidl, is really different. So Netto has only 4 different types, as you can see, where Edeka has over 10 different types in the summertime. So really difference per outlet. Now, let me go to the other side of the water, to the UK. Again, just briefly, Marks and Spencer's is really the top-end market in the United Kingdom, so they want quality, and they have customers that are willing to pay for quality. So they have high-quality fruit, also a very nice presentation of the fresh cut department, and that's one of the key sellers. So if you look at fair share, as we call it, so the supermarket itself has maybe 5% market share, but the share they have in processed melons is maybe 25. So they sell a lot more than you expect in their turnover. So Marks and Spencer is super successful in selling convenience products. Another outlet, Sainsbury, it's not so nice because of the empty boxes on the shelves. It's not helping the sales, of course, but just to show you their assortment they offer in the summertime. The quality here at the fresh cut is a bit poor, I think. This is only one photo from one store in one moment, I understand that, but this is not so nice. So if you see the overall quality of the whole food is nice, but fresh cut is a bit, This is Tesco, well known, I think, the biggest retailer in the UK. I think covering 20% of the market, maybe 25 already. You see a good offer quality and as well as fresh cut products. The assortment is a bit small. This can be possible because this was maybe not the biggest supermarket. Normally the big stores have more different types. But Tesco is also experimenting a little bit. How many types should we have on the shelf in order not to lose sales, but not to have too many. You can have 15 different melons on the shelf, but normally you have 4 or 5 that are really good sellers, and the other 10, someone buys one. So they are experimenting, having less product on the shelf and try to sell more volume. Now, the French market is not very much known as import. The letters are very small. I see, but I will make sure you get the presentation so you can get the numbers on your own screen. French are not so known for importing melons in the winter. So the French really have a real tradition of eating fruit and vegetables in the time they are ready. So they produce their own charentes. You can see the big picture on the right on the top. Their own aromatic charente melon, and then some imports from Spain, yellows, watermelon. This is, by the way, Carrefour. Quite a nice assortment, good quality, I think. Here you see the Grand Fraise, and Grand Fraise, I don't know if you know, Grand Fraise is a super quality focused store. It's only fruit and vegetables. They have a beautiful assortment, and they have real quality melons. They treat them right, they chill them, they offer them in the right way. They are expensive. You can see the numbers when you read the presentation, but it's good quality. So nice display of fruits. Now, then we go to finish to Scandinavia, a market that's traditionally going for smaller fruit sizes, but Scandinavians are also known as very healthy people. So the consumption of fruit and vegetables in general in Scandinavia is super high. You have a couple of different outlets over there, the local markets like ICA, you have the City Grows, which is local, the Co-op, and then the ones we know from other places, like the Lidl as well. Nice display, nice offer. Now, one picture from Denmark, some different supermarkets, same story here. You have the local Rema's and the Brugsen, and then the Lidl and the Netto are from Germany. Then to finish, I think this is the picture of Norway, also with a nice assortment, also some fresh cut watermelons on the shelf, half watermelons. So there's a lot of presentation, consumption of melons and watermelons in the European market. And I hope you also got a picture that it's really different in the different countries. So consumption level in the summer is higher. It's different per country. So it's a unique market. Now, to finish, but last but not least, I would say, because this is one of the reasons why you are here today on this event together, organized together with Abonos. It's about the introduction of our new yellow melon, Jicaral. Jicaral was tested last year for the first time. And Jadial is the smaller sister variety, also yellow honeydew, that was tested the year before, so we had quite some sales already last year. Now, two different varieties. Jadial is the one that we believe that has the potential for the smaller households that I was talking about. Smaller fruit sizes, ideal fruit sizes. We did it commercial last year. We had very good arrivals. No brown spots, no black spots on the skin, so a very solid type of melon. Good bricks, as you can see, 12.3 on average. And this variety we're not just doing in Costa Rica, but also in Brazil. So we know it very well. And yeah, I think we weekly arrive here in the Netherlands, only probably 20 containers a week. So we got a good impression for 52 weeks a year. So big volume over the whole period. Very steady variety, I would say. Now, Jicaral is the new one, the bigger sister. So it's slightly larger in size. So that's why we also think that this has a different market direction probably. So one of the markets is possibly the fresh cut market there, because it's a bit larger in size, and then maybe in addition to a market like Italy where the demand for larger sizes. Yeah. Now what we saw, and I have to say it was on a limited amount of trials, but we had a couple of hectares, so a couple of containers arriving in the Netherlands and the UK last year. Quite good quality, close to 12 bricks on average, no brown spots either. It's a slightly wrinkled skin that gives it a bit of robustness, so it's a bit solid, and that shows, I think, was very good, no spots, so we were really happy with the arrivals. Some more details about the checks. So this is Jadial, what I mentioned, commercial volumes, the sizes, and then the difficulty is a bit, sometimes you use 10 kilo boxes, 12 kilo boxes, 11 kilo boxes, but on average we counted like sizes 7 to 10, the bricks from 9 to 8 to 13.3, and the firmness from 4.1 to 6.4. So pretty okay melon, solid melon, bricks wise is good, rivals are solid, let's say, the information is clear. Now the new one, the Jicaral, mainly samples, as I said. I saw it four times myself, a couple times in Holland and in England too. Slightly bigger, so size 5 to 8. Bricks very similar, between 10 and 14, and the same counts for the PSI. So it's a melon that transports well, that presents well. As you can see, it's nice bright yellow, which is also one of the topics in the Rexone melons. So these I had a look at, just to show you that I really looked at it, because it's nice to talk about it, but I've really been cutting the melons, eating the melons, measuring the bricks, measuring their firmness, and then eventually eating them as well, and with positive feedback. So we are confident to go to the market with both varieties, and we hope that you will join us and we'll grow part of it. Let me go back to Costa Rica now. Thanks for your attention.
El señor que está en vivo.
Okay. Bueno, muchas gracias, Vincent. Compartió una presentación donde se enfocó principalmente en las tendencias, en cómo se está incrementando la necesidad de frutas más pequeñas, cómo va cambiando el mercado, que ustedes mismos lo han vivido en los últimos años. Vincent todavía está en vivo ahorita. Si alguien tiene alguna pregunta o alguna duda sobre lo que comentaron en el video. ¿Todo muy claro? ¿O alguna cuestión que no se haya entendido en inglés que crean que podamos resaltar, aprovechando que tenemos a Vincent en pantalla? Okay, Vincent, it's all clear. Sorry, we can hear you.
Hello? Hello?
Yeah, go, you can go.
Yeah, sorry, maybe it was the English, but if I have to do the presentation in Spanish, you would listen to me all day. So it's better that you talk a little bit in the lunchtime about the content and the trends in Spanish, maybe.
Ok, bueno, yo creo que podemos hacer un breve resumen, si quieren, de lo que habló Vincent, de las tendencias y lo que podemos mencionar de tamaños y de la confianza que tenemos. Sí, sí. Okay.
¿Cuál es la ventana que ocupan y quiénes son sus principales competidores en el mercado hoy día para llegar a una buena calidad
Okay, ¿es una pregunta para Vincent o para qué? Okay. Hey Vincent, can you mention the difference between Rixwan and the other seed companies, the advantages that we have against other competitors with our seeds, speaking about the yellow ones or the hard ones?
Yeah, I think all the big seed companies do a very good job. So it's not that Rijkswaan is super much better or whatsoever. I think for you as growers, it's very important to take care that the seeds you are using are of good quality. I know there's more people around this world at the moment that offering seeds cheap, offering seeds that are produced from Asia, from different regions around the world that can contain with some virus or trouble that are very problematic for you as grower. So I think it's important that you work with the main seed companies, and whether we are the best today in Cantaloupes or Yellow, or if it's Nunems or Enza, but I think it's worthwhile to work with the bigger companies. Maybe one thing why we are special, we are family-owned companies, so we try to stay close to our customers. We have very long-term partnerships, but with most of you, we work already for a long time. And that's also what we like to continue. So we like to be family-owned. We are a people company. We are not the numbers company. But yeah, we need to do it together.
Thank you.
Now you need to translate.
Hay muchas empresas, lo más importante es tener semillas de calidad y lo que busca Rijkswaan es tener relaciones de largo plazo, y creo que todos los que están aquí han conocido Rijkswaan desde hace mucho tiempo. Conocen a Vincent también, que es un personaje en el mundo de melón en nuestra región. Entonces, en el acompañamiento, empresas como Rijkswaan o como la competencia siempre van a haber. Lo importante es que ustedes se sientan seguros y tranquilos con las semillas que están sembrando.
La tendencia son de los más pequeños, pero la productividad de campo, hay mucha diferencia en el nivel portal. Y la otra pregunta, el desarrollo va mucho hacia menores más dulces, menores más temperadores. Pero a nivel mundial hay más diabéticos y hay gente más haciendo dietas keto. Entonces, que si el azúcar que está pensando la problemática de un diabético,
Bueno, la pregunta o el comentario que estás haciendo, pues lo puedo contestar en base a lo que expuso el video de Vincent. Si la tendencia es a frutas más pequeñas, derivado a familias más pequeñas, a espacios más pequeños, a tendencias de una vida más rápida, en el que, si ustedes se dan cuenta, las góndolas están llenas de sandías o de melones pequeños, pero también hay una góndola llena de sandías cortadas o ensaladas de frutas, y eso va a una tendencia a nivel de Europa, que es el mercado donde ustedes van con estos melones. Esa es la tendencia, es a donde... Vieras que el tema de productividad...
Son dos. Buenos días. La idea con estos híbridos de menor tamaño es conseguir más frutos por metro lineal. Entonces, sobre eso se está trabajando en genética. No vamos a lograr los rendimientos con híbridos grandes, pero sí se acerca más a un rendimiento rentable para los productores, con tamaños pequeños, pero más frutas por metro lineal o frutas por planta. Sobre eso están trabajando los genetistas, principalmente en este segmento de híbridos para Europa, principalmente, que son frutas de 1 kilo, kilo y medio, lo más que se necesitan para este mercado.
Ok, gracias, Darwin. ¿Alguna otra pregunta directa para Vincent? Okay. Okay, Vincent, so thanks for your time and see you next month. Bye.
I wish you a very good day, and hopefully you have a lot of discussion and inspiration.
Your mic.
Oh. I don't know, it's hacking. No, so I just want to say thanks for your time and attention, and I hope you have a very nice day all together. Please also use the knowledge of all the team of us is there, and try to let's make it a great season again.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bueno, fue algo pues híbrida la presentación entre un video que llevó tiempo con Vincent y la presentación les agradecemos. De verdad quisimos traer a Vincent. Vincent es un personaje en el área de Melón que tiene muchos insights de cómo se comporta el mercado a donde ustedes van. Y creo que es importante que interactuemos todos con él. Otro punto que vamos a hablar es, pues, en el tema de Rick Swan, es una breve historia de cómo es que nosotros participamos en el mercado. Posterior vendrán los especialistas como Rui, como Darwin, a hablar de las nuevas variedades. Tenemos una pequeña agenda de qué es el rol en el mercado de frutas de Rick Swan, qué es lo que nos diferencia contra otras empresas y cómo estamos en la región, que es algo muy importante para entender tanto como los distribuidores como los clientes finales. Rick Swan a nivel mundial se maneja no solo desde el breeding, desde lo que pudo pensar aquí mi amigo de Cartago, de que cómo son los rendimientos. Esas son las tareas de los genetistas, encontrar los híbridos correctos para los lugares correctos, cómo interactuamos con el productor, cómo interactuamos con el procesador o los importadores, cómo nos vemos en el retail y cómo entendemos al consumidor. En las casas comerciales de semillas es muy común lanzar semillas, lanzar variedades, pero no es muy común acompañar al consumidor o al retail. Y esa es una de las diferencias que nos caracteriza en Rick Swan. Es algo que nosotros promulgamos, es algo que nosotros vivimos y que hacemos desde hace muchos, muchos años. ¿Cómo lo hacemos y cómo podemos plasmar los objetivos de breeding en Rick Swan? Nosotros buscamos la mejora genética con resistencias para diferentes enfermedades en la planta, para tener plantas fuertes y resilientes. Acabamos de escuchar una presentación aquí sobre el clima, sobre cómo van a estar los próximos meses y se ve favorable, pero aún así nosotros queremos tener un cultivo que sea resiliente, que pueda aguantar ese porcentaje de lluvia más o menos que puede participar en esos meses. ¿Cómo nosotros devolvemos esas acciones de breeding? En muchas de nuestras variedades se encuentran logos como este que dice Ag Defense. Son resistencias a áfidos, o como puede pasar en Brasil, la resistencia a liriomisa. O sea, ¿cómo traducimos los esfuerzos de genética en Rick Swan a través de estas mociones? Como podemos hablarlo de la hernia de las coles, que fuera de melones también es muy importante para los amigos aquí de Cartago, o cómo mencionamos las nuevas resistencias que tenemos para los virus que transmiten los trips en lechugas. Lo manejamos con el INSB Defense. Esas son una de las acciones que hacemos como en el equipo de breeding. ¿Cómo se traducen los esfuerzos? Y aterrizando a lo que nos interesa aquí en el medio hoy, aquí en Nicoya, cómo Rick Swan obtiene todo lo que probamos en nuestra región. Nosotros podemos ver que las estaciones de breeding para melón y sandía se dan en España, en Holanda y en Francia. Pero, ¿qué es lo que hacen ellos? Ellos hacen los cruces y nos mandan los híbridos para que nosotros empecemos a probar. Y Costa Rica es uno de los primeros que prueba, Guatemala y Brasil. Pero ¿qué viene de cada estación? De España podemos obtener amarillos, galias, piel de sapo y sandías. De Holanda vienen los dinos y los honeydews, y de Francia, Harper y otros tipos que están dando, como los suturados. Todo esto es un equipo que trabaja, pues, según las necesidades del consumidor, según las necesidades del productor y según los comentarios que nosotros como Rick Swan en la región compartimos. ¿Y hacia dónde van todos estos? Pues mucho va a la estación que tenemos en Guatemala, que está en Zacapa, una de las zonas más productoras de melón de la región. En este caso es una región que participa un 80, un 90% con Harpers y un 20% con otros tipos. ¿Qué hacemos en esta finca experimental? Pre-breeding y breeding. ¿Qué quiere decir esto? Todos los híbridos o los primeros híbridos que van saliendo en pequeñas cantidades en otras estaciones, nosotros los probamos en Guatemala. Al probarlos en Guatemala, al correr toda esa investigación, nosotros promovemos si pasan a fase 2 o pasan a la siguiente fase. ¿Qué características tiene esto? Fase 1 solo son pruebas internas, solo son pruebas en fincas internas de Rick Swan. Fase 2 es cuando nosotros ya le vimos algo positivo, algo relevante, y podemos probar con clientes externos y con fincas internas, para posterior, en fase 3, empezar a hacerlo un poco más, de una manera más grande, y posteriormente en fase 4, precomercial. En pocas palabras, obtener una variedad como jicaral, como jadial, no son 1 año, 2, 3 años. Esa es una historia que viene de 6, 7, 8 años, desde que empezó en Francia o que empezó en España, y que a través del tiempo se determinó que son las variedades que nos pueden servir. En pocas palabras, hay un tema que se llama tropicalizar. A Costa Rica, ¿a ustedes les interesa una variedad que no sea muy buena, que sea buenísima en España? No, que sea buenísima en Costa Rica, que sea lo más adecuado a su clima, pero que sea del gusto del consumidor en Europa. Entonces, esa es la tarea de estas estaciones, del equipo de desarrollo e investigación. Recuérdense que en Rick Swan, gran parte, el 40% de las personas de Rick Swan se dedican a desarrollo e investigación. Entonces, ¿qué les quiero decir? Pregunten. Nosotros tenemos información no solo de tendencias, sino también de todo lo que es características y rendimientos. ¿Qué hace Brasil? Nuestra estación que también nos apoya, y es de ahí donde también hay una gran parte de las sugerencias o el apoyo que tenemos de Rui, que va a ser el próximo expositor, que tienen mucha experiencia. ¿Por qué? Porque la estación o Brasil va mucho a mercado de Europa. La estación en Guatemala va dirigido a mercado de Estados Unidos. Entonces, en esta sí tenemos pieles de sapo, amarillos, Harper, como también sandías. Se hacen todas las fases que comenté anteriormente, y con estas dos estaciones nosotros tomamos como base para poder venir a Costa Rica y decir, bueno, probemos esta. No estamos probando variedades así al azar, sino que ya pasaron ciertos filtros que pueden ser del gusto del consumidor, pero más importante aún, que pueden ser del gusto del productor en una zona como esta. ¿Cómo participamos con el productor? Pues no solo en días de campo o en el día a día, sino también en eventos internacionales, como también en lanzamientos como este. Entonces, esto es el día a día de Rick Swan, estar tanto desde el inicio como con el agricultor, como en el final al consumidor. ¿Y qué es otra cosa que nos caracteriza? Pues tenemos diferentes formas de participar con el consumidor y con el productor, que tenemos incluso centros de investigación del consumidor, como es el Retail Center en Berlín. Participamos en ferias como la Fruit Attraction o la Fruit Logística en Berlín. Tenemos páginas que promueven el consumo de vegetales, que promueven nuevas tendencias más saludables. Todo esto nos hace diferentes. Al final, ¿cómo participa Rick Swan en nuestra región? Que es una pregunta que muchos agricultores se pueden hacer. La subsidiaria en Guatemala tiene un equipo tanto comercial, administrativo y técnico y de comunicación, que tiene a su cargo, bueno, aquí miran una foto de cuántos somos, tiene a su cargo no solo Guatemala, sino también toda la región de Centroamérica. Aparte de eso, subsidiarias como la de Brasil y la de México son nuestro soporte y fortalecen el trabajo que nosotros hacemos para atender tanto países de Centroamérica y Suramérica, en este caso Ecuador, Colombia y Venezuela, y en el Caribe a Dominicana. Y aquí vengo y resalto nuevamente y agradezco a Agrosuperior el reto que tenemos en Costa Rica de promover vegetales, promover una vida más saludable y promover calidad, innovación y buen servicio, que eso es algo que nos caracteriza en Rick Swan y que en Agrosuperior buscamos tener, ser un equipo en esta zona de Melón, y es la razón por la que estamos aquí. Entonces, como subsidiaria en Guatemala, manejamos todos estos países, y en Costa Rica nuestro distribuidor es Agrosuperior, a bien, con el cual tenemos muchas expectativas de crecer y de compartir todas las cosas buenas que tenemos. Entonces, Les agradezco, espero que este pequeño resumen de cómo participa Rick Swan, no solo en Melón, sino a nivel mundial, les dé una pizca y tengan la curiosidad de conocer más de Rick Swan. Les agradezco mucho. Gracias.